Coming up right now, a Swiss city says the war on drugs has failed. More on the controversial drug they plan to legalize. I'm not sure which one.
Also coming up, a lotto winner goes through millions of dollars in just a few years. So we will debate the age-old question, can money truly buy happiness?
A little bit later on, we're going to find out the real reason why some flight attendants are actually airing their grievances as they justify stealing those first-class snacks.
Ooh, really? Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We are so happy to have you around here. We're going to be talking to Gator a little bit later on in this hour. And if you need those little honeydew lists around the house, he's got some great little hacks.
Oh, he's terrific. Millions of views on social media.
Yeah, it's really neat to be able to check it out.
And Steve Helling will be joining us too to talk about the Oscars that are coming up.
So we got good stuff there. Now, this is a big week here at Daily Flash. Now, Jackson, we would love to, we always love having you at the party, but it's a bachelor party for our boy, Maddie, this week. Matt, how's the wedding planning going, man?
You ever just feel like screaming into a void and then throwing money at it and lighting it all on fire?
Yes. Welcome to marriage.
That's about where I'm at with this. All right. I just wanted to pick the Elvis in Vegas, but no, we got to have a pretty party.
And it gets even, not say worse, but even more compressed as you get closer to it.
So the bachelor party is
Bachelor party is this
weekend.
weekend.
Where is the bachelor party? Can you disclose the location?
I don't think, well, do we want to? We're going downtown. I know that.
Yeah, Top Golf, and we're gonna. If you hear of like a riot going on in International Drive in Orlando in the tourist district for everybody else out there, that's what it is.
Do I need to come and pick you guys up at some point?
We are going to need you to reserve some money for bail.
Okay.
That's the only thing we have.
We're going to have a cop with us, so we're good.
We do, that's right. We do.
Talk our way out of it.
All right, very good. Let's really quickly we'll, talk about what's happening in the world today and other things.
Have you heard about the, you know Build-A-Bear, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently for Valentine's Day, they're doing an adult version of Build-A-Bear. And, you know, in nightgowns and teddies and lingerie. And it's not setting well with a lot of people. Because Build-A-Bear you think of as a children's toy, right?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, you go in, basically, if you haven't seen this, you pick out what you want the bear to wear and what the bear to look like, all right?
So now the adult version, you can only imagine what you're able to dress your bear up for Valentine's Day, and it's the adult version of Build-A-Bear.
Okay, and well, at least have clothes on, I guess, right?
I suppose so.
Yeah, I would hope. That's the ones you get.
Because the naked bear is just, naked.
It's just naked, yeah. Well, Winnie the Pooh's been getting around for a long time without
with just the
pants
shorts.
Can you add attachments to it or anything? Is that part of when you put all the stuff together, or you add?
I hope not. I don't think that. I don't think they've gone that far.
They got that stuffing machine, so I mean maybe that. You know.
Yeah.
All right, interesting. Well, if you get a Build-A-Bear, you'll know now. That came from me. All right, we go now out of that conversation to Switzerland, where the capital there is actually considering a pilot program to test the legal sale of cocaine. The devil's dandruff there for recreational use, all in an attempt to make the country's rampant use of the drug a little safer. The proposal comes as countries and the United States change their approach so that the so-called war on drugs and policies, including the legal recreational use of marijuana. Those in favor actually argue that legalization allows greater control over the market and safer usage. Several European companies like Spain, Italy, even Portugal no longer actually issue prison sentences for drug possession charges, including the cocaine, man. Say hello, my little friend, man. So the Swiss proposal would actually make it the white powder actually legal for recreational use. Radical step in a new drug policy if it's approved. Something called Adderall, okay? And if you crunch up Adderall and you do enough, it's pretty much cocaine.
Is it really?
I mean, it's let's go to our expert. What's it called? A class what, Matt? Class C.
Class C
Yeah, class C narcotic. I mean, it is. So what's the difference? I mean, we look at Adderall prescriptions have gone up like
Exponentially, yeah.
And and how far away is that? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying
it's a fair argument.
doing the cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's not that far away, but it's prescribed still.
Yeah, but I think if you look at Oregon, for example, that state has completely fallen into disarray because they've legalized nearly every possible drug and they've welcomed homelessness and all of these things, and they're finding that now they're sort of too far down the rabbit hole and they don't know how to fix it. So I think a lot of people question whether legalizing this is sort of, opening up that rabbit hole. And once you go down and if it becomes a problem, how do you then fix it?
I guess the example would be Amsterdam. I think pretty much everything is legal there. I mean, like almost everything. And then and where you can get needles and that sort of thing. So, I mean, and again, I think now that it's in the basically people look at marijuana differently than they did. I think this is just another wave that's actually going to make people think of cocaine in different.
But they're going to get a lot done. They're going to have some great exports.
They could, sure. If it's not clean already, it'll be extra clean by the time.
But on the Swiss Army knives, they started adding a little credit card to pop out, so you can get it all, and then
There you go.
A little tiny spoon.
Little tiny spoon.
Well, one of the UK's biggest lottery winners burned through $50 million in 8 years, splurging on soccer team, racehorses, extravagant cars before his luck completely ran out. Colin Weir spent a stunning $131,000 per week after winning a record-breaking €257 million jackpot. Some of his spending spree included a 55% share in Glasgow's Partick Thistle football team, a vintage car collection, a $6 million home. He spent millions more to renovate, and 3 prize racing thoroughbreds. However, the lottery curse reared its head in 2018 when the former TV cameraman divorced his wife after nearly 4 decades of marriage, and she took much of his fortune, what was left of it. Weir died a year later in 2019 of sepsis following kidney failure.
Goodness.
Well, I guess he lived big while he had the money.
And would you do that? And first off, you have to respect money.
Yes.
I hear this. This story is not new. I mean, you get a lot of money. You don't know how to really handle it. And it was given to you, so you didn't really work for it, and so you don't really have that much respect for it. And it goes by really quick, and it's sad, actually.
Yeah, and it happens to more lottery winners than not. I mean, you'd think that it would come with maybe a lawyer or a legal accounting team or somebody to kind of help guide you once you make all of that money, much like a lot of the professional athletes. For a long time, they never had any kind of guidance, and so many of them ended up broke and homeless. And now they've got a lot of people in place to help them better manage their millions of dollars.
It seems like, and that could be a business altogether. It's just getting the people that win to, before they even claim it, to do all of the pre-work that's going to need to be done. The homework, right?
Yeah.
And we always want to see a success story like that. But I think it just goes back again, as I mentioned. You don't appreciate things if they're given to you.
Exactly. Well, serial world record breaker David Rush added another title to his name. Yes, he did, by sorting peanut M&Ms by color in 1 minute and 14 seconds.
All right.
Rush, who holds more than 250 Guinness World Record titles, took on the record for the fastest time to sort 500 grams of peanut M&Ms. The record-breaking enthusiast said it took him 16 tries to achieve a time of 1 minute, 14 seconds, besting the previous record of 1 minute, 18 seconds. So, guess what we're doing here? Matt and Mitch will attempt the Daily Flash peanut M&Ms sorting record.
So we went through, we realized that the peanut M&Ms are a little harder to kind of pull out. And I'm used to my pill box, taking pills out, and so
that's about right for you.
I asked the judges if we could use plain M&Ms.
Okay.
Just because they're more
makes
pill-like.
sense.
All right, so the key, real quick, the rules are what?
You've got to sort them by their color.
Okay, and just basically.
Just put them in, yeah.
All right, so put them in that, and we're ready. You'll tell us when to go?
Yep, okay, on your marks, get set, go.
All right, so I'll do what I do with my normal ones. I'll just,
Okay, Mitch has got, he's going for the blues. Matt is sorting some yellows.
Relatively new.
Blue is relatively new. Do you know what color they ended up discontinuing to bring in the blue?
What's that?
The tan.
Oh,
The tan. Remember
that's
the tan?
right.
Ooh, Matt is cooking
wow.
over there.
They're not in the
Look at
commercials.
this guy.
I don't know which ones they
It's
are.
like Connect 4 with M&M's over there. My
Pretty
goodness.
sneaky, sis.
Yes, Matt is kicking butt. Oh, Mitch, you've got a good. You've got a good section going.
I'm
All
liking
right.
Okay,
We're at 32 seconds
32?
right now.
All right.
You guys are doing very good.
I'm trying different
All right.
strategies.
Mitch has got the fist strategy. Matt is doing the fingertip strategy.
You know, I'm
over
always
here.
fascinated when I
Yes.
remember myself that J.K. Simmons is the yellow M&M.
Oh, that's right.
On the commercial.
Oh,
I'm waiting for
really? Okay.
All right,
Here we
Billy
go. All
West
right,
is the
we're
red
at
one.
50 seconds.
Okay, so we got 10 seconds left.
We've got 10 seconds left if you guys want to try and even best the record.
Okay, which
Yeah,
I'm
minute 14.
nowhere near it. I'm nowhere near
All right,
getting them
we're at
all out.
1 minute.
1 minute. All right,
1
that's
minute.
it. Call it.
All
time.
right, that's it.
Who
1
looks-
minute.
all right,
Okay.
These are not qualified.
Yeah.
Matt,
You
yours
did
is
good.
nice, man.
Right? It's like he's spelling something over there.
I do this at home. I don't really have a lot to do. So this
He's
is
been
actually a
practicing
hobby.
all weekend for
And,
this.
and really quick, if you close your eyes and do this, it's all Braille. And it says, we'll be back with more Daily Flash right after this. And they're good to eat. All right, the blue one. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. The Oscars are going to take place the second Sunday in March.
Yes, it is the final big awards show for the season, and our very own Hollywood insider Steve Helling joining us now to dish on the nominees, who he thinks will win,
Yes.
who should win, and who got snubbed.
First off, Steve, welcome back to the big show.
Good
Let's
to be
talk
here.
about some of the best picture nominees. This
Yes,
is what everybody wants. Let's
absolutely.
get to the meat of it.
Yeah,
Let's
we've
do
got
it.
the list here, Mitch,
Okay.
so we're going to run down the list. You start with
All right,
the first
American
5.
Fiction, which, Jackson, you can't stop talking about
I
this movie.
love this movie so
I'm
much.
really looking forward
Yeah.
to it. Anatomy of a Fall,
Yep.
Barbie, The Holdovers, and Killers of the Flower Moon, which actually, if you went to go watch this movie, it's still playing right now.
Yes, it
because
is.
it is the longest movie I've ever seen.
The other, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest round out the top 10 Best Picture nominations. So let's start with the odds-on favorite, Oppenheimer. What do you think, Steve?
I think it will probably end up winning. It's been getting all these other awards. And frankly, you can't beat the all-star cast, and Oscar voters love that. So I think that I don't necessarily feel like that was the best movie of the year, but I think it's the one that will win.
It got a lot of buzz, by all means, and I think of this nostalgia of it, and then Robert Downey Jr., I think, also getting some nods for that,
Right.
so very interesting.
Cillian Murphy,
Yes,
Christopher
yeah.
Nolan as the director. So I think he will probably win as director, and I think Cillian Murphy win as actor.
It had to do well, because if it wasn't, it would have been a bomb in the box office.
Yeah.
So it had, I mean, that's a lot of, there's a lot on the line when you do a movie about Oppenheimer, right?
Okay, one of my favorites this year, and this was a surprise to me, American Fiction with Jeffrey Wright.
I think that is the better movie.
I love this
really
movie
do.
so much.
Yeah, I think it's the better movie. I don't think it will win. I think it didn't have the buzz that
Yes.
the other did. But I think it's one that I would recommend if I wanted to say what my best movies of the year are. That's one of them.
It's such a sleeper too, because you don't really know much going into it, and it's
like
such
it.
a surprise when you watch it.
All right, I like that. And you, like I said, I know you
Yeah.
love this movie. And it just came out, I mean, here we are, we're in February, but it just came out like recently too.
In theaters,
Which is
yeah.
weird, just to get, and it obviously got nominated, probably had a limited release. Is that
Yeah,
the-
in December.
All right, they're saying it's an important movie to watch. I've actually heard people say this, but Barbie, lots of buzz around Barbie. Is it an Oscar contender for Best Picture, though?
I think it's an honor to be nominated. I mean, like, it really is. Like, it was a really well done movie. Don't get me
cute.
wrong.
Yeah,
it's cute.
it's
It's
cute.
everything, and it has a message to it. But I don't think you can really compare that with an Oppenheimer.
No.
You just can't.
It's fun, and Ryan Gosling getting a Best Actor nod, and
Yeah.
people outraged that. Why am I drawing a blank on her name? Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie
yeah.
did not get nominated. I'm surprised that he even got a nomination.
Which
to
is
be honest with
interesting
you.
because both the Oscar statue and Ken are both eunuchs. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
going to be
true.
interesting to watch them carry that. Bradley Cooper actually turned in a performance.
Mm-hmm.
His nose, I'm surprised, didn't get nominated behind Maestro, but it actually really not that far to actually take on that much hardware, actually.
Well, actually, there is a controversy behind it. You know, the nose, the prosthetic
Yeah,
nose. There's talk about whether they should have hired a Jewish actor.
Right.
So I think that a lot of times when there's a little bit of controversy that stirs around like that, it really does affect during award season whether people want to vote for that or not. I think he did a great job.
I think
That
he
was
did.
I mean,
phenomenal.
Bradley Cooper has shown that he is a versatile actor and he really does a good job.
I feel like he's like a Robert Redford or a Robert De Niro or even a Cary Grant, in that they're constantly getting nominated, but they never win because they're so talented at what they do.
And I am sorry for my ignorance. Didn't he direct?
He directed
He directed it too.
So not only did he star in it and he helped write the screenplay, but he also directed it. What about the nearly 4-hour movie from Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon?
So, of all 10, that's the one that I have yet to see.
Okay.
And the reason why I have yet to see it is that it's not the time. It's just I really have to psych myself up to go into a movie that's more than. When we get to 3 hours, I mean, back in our day, it would have 2 videos at Blockbuster.
You're right.
And it's like, I have just finally gotten myself to being able to watch a whole movie without looking at my phone. I just don't know if I can do it for 4 hours.
It's interesting. Out of all of these movies, you got Oppenheimer, based on true story, Flower Moon as well, true story. Barbie, true story. Yeah, no, I was going to say that, but there's a life behind it, right?
Yeah.
As well as Leonard Bernstein. We're talking about it. So it's interesting to see all like these true stories. I think that's what America wants.
Right.
I have to say, I was on the same page with you. I wasn't even going to watch it, but then it came to Apple TV, and we were looking for something to watch, and I'm like, okay, I'll start it, but I don't think I'll finish it. And I got completely sucked in.
Yeah.
So
well, that's what I've heard. And
it went by fast.
And I got to tell you this though. I think it's. We were joking about important movies. I think it's an important movie because it was denied by history. A lot of people don't know this, and then you hear what happened and how regular. And I lived in Oklahoma. I didn't know about that, and I'm like, wow, and this really happened, and it got. I think there was a lot of discussion afterwards.
Right.
And if a movie can do that, I think it really helps out.
Well, I think it certainly deserves the nomination, and maybe it deserves the win. I'll let you know.
Be an upset,
I'll let you know.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That was my question. So, do you think is that your pick? Would you say?
No, my pick is Oppenheimer. I mean, it's my pick.
Any snubs? Any upsets?
Not really. I mean, I thought May December might be nominated. It was such a good movie.
It was a good movie.
But I understand why it wasn't. I think there's still a little bit of a stigma of, that was really a streaming movie. That was,
Do you think if this movie, let's say Killers of the Flower Moon, and a lot of these movies are going longer, do you think this is going to be a trend? Because people aren't really going to theaters anymore.
God, I hope
theaters
not.
hate these long movies.
And I hope it isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I have things to do.
Yeah.
No, I think that I think you really have to have something to say for a movie to be that long. Don't be 4 hours just to be 4 hours.
Definitely.
I always say when those movies go on like that, it's like, well, the charm of every movie is in the editing, and and if you can't go 4 hours, apparently you don't have a good editor, is my opinion.
Steve, thank you.
Yes,
Always
thank
you. So good to be
see
here.
You. The Oscars will be held on March 10th. Where can people find you, Steve?
They can find me on Instagram. That's the best place. Steve Helling. They can find me on Twitter. Steve Helling. I'm not very. It's Steve Helling.
Just look for Steve.
Google me. It's fine.
And simply SteveHelling.com. I asked him for his email last night, which was dumb of me. I should have known better.
Steve at SteveHelling.com?
Exactly.
All right, we'll be back with more.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I am Matt Doolittle, and we are doing it in the world of VR and AR. The names change every week, but we're diving in to the world of the first adapters and the release of the Apple Vision Pro. Now, the first thing, of course, the price. That might keep a few folks from jumping into the world of the Vision Pro with a starting price of $3,500. The fact that you can have to walk around with an attached battery pack, and that a lot of apps haven't even been released for it yet. So that's a lot of money to not have a lot going on. However, at a rumored 200,000 of these sold in the first 10 days, I think that it's on its way to being a must-have, wouldn't you think? So some people have already been giving this a test around their house, how some of the apps already are in effect with their TVs and work with them and work with their refrigerators, some of them. Now, this could help you out with your work at home or your office if you're so inclined. And the initial reaction is that a lot of the queasiness or eye fatigue you may have had in the Oculus, like I did, and other versions of the VR thing could this could take care of it. Now, if you're a kid from the 90s, you remember the first version of this, and it's a relic from Nintendo. Those were the good old days of playing at Sears and just playing it for free. My dad never got me that, but that wasn't much of a success. And I've had the Oculus for about 2 years now, And I can honestly say I haven't even turned it on in 6 months. We thought coming out of the pandemic era, these devices were going to be the norm at home, but Apple may have tapped into something here. Look at what these folks are already using it for. Yes, aimlessly walking through the streets, trusting this device. I've nearly hit people crossing the street on their cell phones and nearly been hit myself. So that's probably not the best idea. But sure, this is fine. That's fine. You know, taking it to your favorite sporting event too. Homeboy is really wearing it in the front row of a Celtics game. Of course he's in the front row. That's how he could afford them. Now, right off the bat, people are using this for some of the dumbest stuff. Check this guy out. This looks absolutely safe, right? Nothing to see here. Let the car drive itself while you wear the visor and completely trust everything when my phone randomly restarts every once in a while. At least at the end of this, the cops show up and he says online, oh, let's set this up, but I don't know. I think this looks pretty legit. I'm all for these. I see the applications for teaching, doctors, architecture, and some bit of entertainment. Y'all know the responsible users, right? But do we need it? Let me ask you, don't most of us on this crew have Apple Watches, phones, earbuds, and Apple TVs? So they've already integrated into our everyday life. But let's all be honest, we're human. What does this turn into? Obviously the scene from WALL-E. Who am I kidding? I'm putting it on a Playmate pan after my wedding. Maybe I'll put it on the registry, and I'll be doing it in the virtual world with the rest of you. And you all know what that means because you've already done it in the virtual world. Guys?
Fabio Marcano from Daily Flash Latino joins us now for our relationship refresh. Fabian,
Yes.
welcome.
Hi, guys.
What are we talking about today, Bubba?
Well, let's talk about divorce. Everybody knows divorce is super hard, and it's not only hard on the parents, it's also hard on the children.
Yes.
There's an alternative, though.
Okay.
Instead of the parents moving away into different homes and then children have to jump from house to house,
Sure, yeah.
why don't they leave the original house that they bought as a family together and they move to different apartments, and then they can share the house. 1 week one parent, 1 week the other.
Oh, you know,
that's interesting.
yeah, I know somebody is actually doing this, and so yeah, and it came out of, well, when they were separated, they wound up getting their own place, and then now they do that sort of thing, and it's so far it seems to work. It's a fresh new into the divorce. It's not actually all gone through yet, but apparently it's enough to work, and it makes the kids feel more comfortable.
Exactly. What I was thinking, it might preserve the state of mind at least,
Yeah.
or their home for the kids that they grew up in. You know, they don't have to move out from where they grew up
That's
in.
a good point.
So does that mean that both ex-spouses have their own
They would have their
place?
Yes.
own house.
And
yeah.
then when
They're
they
the one
get the kids privilege weekend or week, then they come to the house.
Exactly.
And
You wouldn't have to change the address. I can tell you, having
Yeah.
a bonus son, that he has 2 sets of clothes. And when I was traveling a lot, you never feel like if you're only in a place maybe 1 day a week, 2 days a week, or whatever, you don't feel like you're anchored or whatever. And I always feel bad about that for him. So I can see how this could be a great solution.
I have a friend that did it, and I mean, it worked out for him. I have another friend that the wife just said no.
It's
so,
not gonna happen.
I mean, it could go either way, guys, but it's something new to try, and why not, right?
Do you think it matters how old the children are?
I
Do you
think it
that-
does.
Yeah.
I think it does.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
It makes a big difference.
And I think maybe I think this is a great conversation actually to have before you get married.
Yes.
Because I mean, even if you just say, "Hey, look, if we don't get along, I don't want to get divorced again," or whatever.
How are we gonna manage
How
it?
is this going to work out? God forbid. You do that with wills.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you do that at the death of a marriage as well? I think it's a great idea.
You spend more time planning and spending money on a wedding than you do understanding the ramifications if things don't work out.
It makes complete.
It costs you just
Always
as much,
plan
if not
ahead.
more.
That's right.
Yeah.
Always plan ahead.
Fabian Marcano, thank you so much for joining us. Always good stuff here. Remember, you can catch Fabian on Daily Flash Latino. You can head to dailyflashlatino.com to check your local listings and time. We got more Daily Flash coming up right after this. If you go anywhere, you're going to miss out on it, and we don't want you to have to jump house to house either.
No.
So just keep it in this house.
Miss a minute, miss a lot.
Yeah, I love it. Indeed.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Jackson.
I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We are so happy to have you
Yes.
around here. We're going to be talking to Gator a little bit later on in this hour. And if you need those little honeydew lists around the house.
Yes.
He's got some great little hacks.
Oh,
that you
he's
could be able to-
terrific.
Yeah, he is.
Millions of views on social media.
Yeah, it's really neat to be able to
And
check it
Steve
out.
Helling will be joining
Oh,
us
that's
too
right.
to talk about the Oscars that are coming up.
So we got good stuff there. Now this is a big week here at Daily Flash. Now Jackson, we would love to. We always love having you at the party, but it's a bachelor party for our boy Maddie this
Is
week.
it
Matt, how's the wedding
really?
planning going, man?
You ever just feel like screaming into a void and then throwing money at it and lighting it all on fire?
Yes. Welcome to marriage.
That's about where I'm at with this.
All right.
I just wanted to pick the Elvis in Vegas, but no, we gotta have a pretty party.
Can you disclose the location?
I don't think. Well, do we want to? We're going downtown. I know that.
Yeah, Top Golf and
Okay.
We're gonna do
if you
a
hear
tour.
of like a riot going on in International Drive in
That's you
Orlando
guys.
in the tourist
Okay.
district for everybody else out there, that's what it is.
Do I need to come and pick you guys up at some point?
We are going to need you to reserve some money for bail.
Okay.
That's the only thing we have.
We're gonna have a cop with us, so we're good.
We do. That's right. We do.
Talk our way out of it.
All right, we go now out of that conversation to Switzerland, where the capital there is actually considering a pilot program to test the legal sale of cocaine. We're
Yeah!
talking about the devil's dandruff there for recreational use, all in an attempt to make the country's rampant use of the drug a little safer. The proposal comes as countries and the United States change their approach so that the so-called war on drugs with policies including the legal recreational use of marijuana. Those in favor actually argue that legalization allows greater control over the market and safer usage. Several European companies like Spain, Italy, even Portugal no longer actually issue prison sentences for drug possession charges, including the cocaine, man. Say hello, my little friend, man. So the Swiss proposal would actually make it the white powder actually legal for recreational use. Radical step in a new drug policy if it's approved. Something called Adderall, okay? And if you crunch up Adderall and you do enough, it's pretty much cocaine.
Is it really?
I mean, it's let's go to our expert. What's it called? A class what, Matt? Class
C,
one-
class C
yeah, class C
felony.
narcotic. I mean, it is. So what's the difference? I mean, we look at Adderall prescriptions have gone up like exponentially.
Yeah.
And and how far away is that? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not
No,
saying
it's a
start
fair argument.
doing the cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's not that far away, but it's prescribed still.
Yeah, but I think if you look at Oregon, for example, that state has completely fallen into disarray because they've legalized nearly every possible drug and
Okay.
they've welcomed homelessness and all of these things. And they're finding that now they're sort of too far down the rabbit hole and they don't know how to fix it. So I think a lot of people question whether legalizing this is sort of, opening up that rabbit hole. And once you go down and if it becomes a problem, how do you then fix it?
I guess the example would be Amsterdam. I think pretty
Yes.
much everything is legal there. I mean, like
That's
almost,
true.
almost everything. And then and where you can get needles and that sort of thing. So I mean, and again, I think now that it's in the basically. People look at marijuana differently than they did. I think I think this is just another wave that's actually going to make people think of cocaine differently.
But they're going to get a lot done. They're going to have some great
Well,
Well,
exports.
they could, sure. If it's not clean already, it'll be extra clean by the time
But on the Swiss Army knives, they started adding a little credit card to pop out so you can get it all, and then
a little tiny.
little tiny spoon.
Well, one of the UK's biggest lottery winners burned through $50 million in 8 years, splurging on soccer team, racehorses, extravagant cars before his luck completely ran out. Colin Weir spent a stunning $131,000 per week after winning a record-breaking 257 million euro jackpot. Some of his spending spree included a 55% share in Glasgow's Partick Thistle football team, a vintage car collection, a $6 million home. He spent millions more to renovate, and 3 prize racing thoroughbreds. However, the lottery curse reared its head in 2018 when the former TV cameraman divorced his wife after nearly 4 decades of marriage, and she took much of his fortune, what was left of it. Weir died a year later in 2019 of sepsis following kidney failure.
Goodness.
Well, I guess he lived big while he had the money.
We got more Flash coming up right around the corner. You don't want it to go anywhere. We got the trending news and entertainment that's coming your way, so stick around for that. You got Mitch English, you got Andrea Jackson, we got my buddy Matt Doolittle. We got a party going on here, right?
In today's Help My Home, we're calling on the experts, one in particular.
And usually when we say Florida man, we're like, all right, listen, you're going to love this Florida man, though. He's attracted millions of followers on his social media for his real easy home improvement hacks. And he's so cool, he just goes by one name, kind of like in Madonna, Cher, and Gator.
Gator!
Welcome, Gator, to Daily Flash. Hey, man. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. You know, we love your videos. And here's the thing. These are videos you're going to learn something. That's the best part about it. You have different, basically different hacks that you can do throughout your home. Anybody can do these. Let's first talk about maybe fixing a door hinge.
This is something that happens a lot. I mean, it's a common thing. You know, everybody's got the door that doesn't close all the way or swings open when it's not supposed to. And so, you know, a longer screw is a way to do it. And this right here I'm showing is usually when those screws strip out, they're so small that you can just put something in there. I like to use golf tees. They work really well, but a matchstick or some toothpicks, you know, work just as good.
All right, you put it in there, and then do you put the screw on top of it, or is that the T actually the replacement altogether?
Yeah, the T actually fills the hole there and just allows the screw to bite in there because it usually just strips out. Those screws are so small, you know.
Right. Okay, and then
the screw allows it to bite in there. Is basically what happens.
Such a good idea. All right, Gator, I got to ask you about this one. What about your WD-40 and your spray foam hack?
So this is something I learned a long time ago, and the spray foam is something I use a lot and I have in the past. And you just when you spray it, you got to use it all right then, you know, or it's not any good. It just dries up. So this is the way I clean it out, and I can use it over and over like that.
Okay.
So you take the straw
Somebody
off?
showed me that long. Yes, ma'am. Take the straw off. You spray the WD-40 through there. It eats it right off of there and just allows it not to dry. And they have different things for that, but that just works the best.
WD-40 does everything.
You've always got WD-40. You know, it's not what it used to be. People don't realize and there are a lot of different products. You know, they make tons of things.
Oh, I didn't know that. I always just thought WD-40 was WD-40. I didn't realize that. But I also know.
Yeah, they make.
Go ahead.
There's just so many products, you know, that people think WD-40 is one thing, but it's a better cleaner than anything.
You know, not only that, if you have a wasp nest, spray WD-40 in there, and it kills them all.
Yes.
And it's easy to shoot it.
Oh, yeah. And Gator, I saw you do a video with you using WD-40 to clean a windshield. We'll feature that coming up pretty soon. But we know you get asked this question a lot about changing or cleaning a dishwasher filter.
Yes. So this is something that I tell people it's not in every dishwasher. Unfortunately, a lot of the older ones don't have this, but most people do, and they don't even realize it. And that thing will get so dirty and nasty that, you know, it's not going to drain properly. It's not going to wash your dishes as good. And most people don't even know it's there.
You know, I am going to do that right when I go home because I think that's happening in my house. Gator, let me ask you, man. First off,
you know, and they don't all have them. So if you don't have it, you know, don't freak out. But a lot of the newer styles do.
Okay. First, how did you have you always been the hack guy, and then getting on TikTok and being as popular as you are? Did you think you'd ever get to this level of fame for just telling great stuff?
No, this is far beyond. I've never been on social media before. This was the very first time. You know, I've been building houses for most of my life, and I've done repairs. I've been in the rental business, so this is something I do every day. And the TikTok thing was just something that I kind of did for fun. And it just kind of took off, you know, one day out of the blue. I had no idea.
Well, it is.
And I didn't realize the people that actually needed the help, you know.
Yeah, we all do.
We all do, for sure. Gator, it's been great to have you on. We want to have you on again. Where can people find you?
JM Gator, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
I love it. And he's got the WD-40.
Next.
Isn't that great?
Next.
That's his thing. Yeah, the next.
I love that. Gator, all right, man. We love your words of wisdom and following as such. Thanks so much for joining us. There's more Flash after this. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. We are joined today by Dr. Julie Fratantoni. She is a cognitive neuroscientist at the Center for Brain Health in Dallas, Texas. Julie, thank you so much for joining us today. We need to know about how to take care of our brains, especially for the celebration of Brain Health Week. It all kicks off February 19th. What does brain gains mean?
Well, there's a lot of focus in the physical fitness world on making gains for the body. And we want to show people that it's possible to make gains for your brain and give you simple ways for how to do that.
All right. Now, your Center for the Brain Health has actually spent the last 25 years researching how we can actually strengthen and improve our brain fitness. Give us some tips, what people can do. You know, we generally think of this as we get older, but there's some things we can do at any age, right?
Yes, absolutely. And making brain gains isn't about adding more to your schedule. It's about just changing up what you're already doing and doing it in a slightly brain healthier way. So, for example, one is how you approach your to do list. Instead of just tackling items in the order that they appear, try to prioritize them based on the cognitive effort they require. A lot of times we end up doing busy work because we feel productive checking things off the list, but then those important tasks that require deeper thinking don't get done. And that adds to stress. So this will help. It's a great brain exercise to prioritize them this way. And reducing stress is important for long-term brain health. So there's one example.
And people actually can get involved with brain training today by start improving their brain health. How do they do that?
Sure. Well, we have something that is called the Great Brain Gain 7-Day Text Challenge, which gives you a simple tip each day, plus a little bit of the brain science behind it. And to join that, you can text GAIN, GAIN, to 888-844-8991 and get started.
I love that idea. If folks want to get more information on the web, where can they go?
They can go to centerforbrainhealth.org.
All right, very good. And then one more time with that phone number that you had just mentioned.
Sure. The phone number is 888-844-8991.
All right, Doctor, what we'll do is we'll put this on our website so folks could be able to get that information there if they didn't get a chance to jot that down. And of course, we'll have the entire interview waiting for you when you go and check it out too. Doctor, thank you so much. Got to take care of those brains for sure. Our website is dailyflashshow.com. You can check that out at any time.
What will the world's first AI supercomputer for design mean to the future of innovation and the environment? Joining us from Levi's Stadium with exciting news on this announcement and more is Sherry Hess with Cadence. Hi, Sherry.
You may have noticed I'm standing in Levi's Stadium here in Santa Clara, California, the home of the 49ers, where today, in a few hours, we're going to be launching our event to announce the Millennium M1, the world's first AI supercomputer for design. What that means is anything from the design of planes, trains, and automobiles all the way up to data centers can be done more efficiently. So the design of these products typically takes weeks or if not months. We're reducing that to hours. That's going to have a significant impact on the performance, the energy footprint of all of these electronic devices in our life. Honda is using this technology to look at the design of not only their combustion engine, but their electric vehicles. How can we make them more efficient and give the riders a more quieter experience? That's fantastic. Best place to go is to our website. That's cadence.com, and you can find a lot of information there.
Fantastic stuff. Of course, more details on our website. We have so much more trending news and entertainment that's in your way. But first, let's check in with our friends at Daily Buzz right here on Daily Flash.
The 12th annual Scat TV Fest was a success in the ATL. Kelsey Grammer received the Legend of Television Award and discussed Frasier's popularity 30 years after his debut and his future.
The key to Frasier is he's always been in it with his whole heart. He cares deeply about things, about love, about finding his way, and that hasn't changed for him. We certainly hope there's, a future for the show because, there's a lot of ideas I still have that I think we need to see come to life.
Spotlight Award recipient and Star Trek Discovery star Sonequa Martin Green revealed what it means to be the first Black female lead in any iteration of the franchise.
It means to me changes as I grow. Because as I continue to mature as a woman of God, as an actor, as an artist, I learn more and more how it's impacted others and the impact it has on me. It just continues to grow. It continues to widen and deepen.
Get more info at scatvfest.com. Sarasota, Florida is known for its breathtaking white sandy beaches, but there are many ways to experience nature in the area, and the Marie Selby Botanical Gardens is a standout.
We're celebrating our 50th anniversary. We're doing that by having opened the world's first net positive energy botanical garden complex, meaning we're generating more energy than we consume. The project consists of a new welcome center, a new plant research center, a new garden to plate restaurant and shop, and then tons of new garden features and water features.
And the new Bay Public Park offers something for everyone.
It's for kids of all ages. It's for visitors and locals alike. And every month we offer more than 50 free events in the park, whether it's a free movie or a concert, free dance and fitness classes, and even free guided kayak and nature tours.
Travel to visitsarasota.com for more info. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for Hispanics in the U.S. And with diabetes and high cholesterol being big risk factors, a few heart-smart food hacks can be lifesavers.
We want to include more heart-healthy fats. And we know that studies tell us that when we include heart-healthy fats, like Mazola corn oil, it actually might help reduce LDL cholesterol. In fact, some studies say it might reduce it 2 times more than olive oil. When we include and when we switch to a heart-healthy oil that is cholesterol-free, we can still enjoy our favorite foods. Tip number 2 is we want to eat more plants. As simple as that, whether it's fruits, veggies, nuts, legumes. What a better way to showcase this with the vegetable rice pilaf. I love cooking with Mazola corn oil because it actually has a very neutral taste, which allows the flavors and aromas to really shine.
Get the recipes and additional nutritional information at mazola.com/heart. When it comes to getting fiscally fit, don't let tax time derail you.
People tend to leave thousands of dollars on the table by not including, with tax write-offs, they should be using deductions or stating a great life change, like maybe having a baby, getting married. All of these areas can really bring them a bigger tax returns. Consider, setting up a direct deposit. And if you're working with a partner like Chime, where you can set up all your tax refund and get it 6 days earlier, you can pay off those debts.
And be sure to maximize your refund.
Sometimes we look at it as free money and end up buying things that don't really bring value to our lives. Why not use some of that supplemental money and put that into your emergency funds or paying off some of that debt? Some people also want to build their credit history a little better, right? So having a better credit report and using Chime's Credit Builder card, what better way to do it, right? Having a secure card, not overspending, while improving your credit score.
Get more info at chime.com/taxes.
Follow the Daily Buzz on social media.
February is National Dental Health Month for pets. It's actually a common issue, but there are ways to help prevent it. Here is Dr. Angie Krause, along with a few furry friends, to talk about how we can actually take care of our pets' dental health. Hey there, Dr. Krause.
I'm Dr. Angie Krause. I'm a holistic veterinarian, and February is Pet Dental Health Month. And I'm here to give you some tips to help be your pet's best dental advocate. Now, dental disease is more than ugly tartar and smelly breath. Cats and dogs with untreated dental disease can have severe and chronic pain. And unfortunately, they will never tell you that they hurt. They will continue to eat and drink and play as they normally would, all while living with pain that would send us to the dentist after hours. Your pet's dental health can affect other organs. Untreated dental disease can cause bacteria and inflammation under the gums to seed into the bloodstream, making its way to the heart, lungs, liver, and kidneys. And those are important organs. So when you invest in your pet's dental health, you are investing in their overall health. Now, I would love everyone to be brushing their pet's teeth every day, but I know that's not realistic for everybody and for every pet. So what I'd like you to do is once a week, just take a look in your pet's mouth. Just lift up the gum and look for any signs of dental disease like tartar and inflammation at the gum line, or anything that doesn't look quite right, you can report to your veterinarian. And then I like to pair that with a dental treat like Stella and Chewy's Dental Delights. These have nubs and ridges that will help clean tartar and calculus off your pet's teeth. It also has parsley and peppermint to freshen their breath. You can find these at stellaandchewy's.com/dental delights. They're sold at online retailers, and you can find them at your local pet food stores.
Well, from all of us, thank you for spending time with us. For more information on any of today's stories, be sure to visit dailyflashshow.com.
Believe it or not, we love this so much, we're going to do it in just, how about on Monday?
Let's do it. I think so.
I think so. We had such a great time. Thank y'all for joining us. Y'all take care. We will see you when we look at you. Be good or good at it. Right, Maddie?
Right.
Yeah!
Good stuff. High five.
High five.
Woo!
Nice.
Nice.